Leeds United have beaten Norwich City 2-0 in what was a very nice and comfortable victory for the Whites. And I'll be honest, I am very, very happy with what we just saw. But I feel like we need to talk about it a little bit more, talk about some of the positives we got from it. One of the sort of negatives that I sort of want to take a look at and what it means for the season going forwards. But before we do, I'd hugely appreciate if you could subscribe to the channel. It's really helpful for keeping everything pushing along. Be genuinely fantastic. It's just one click for you as well, just down here. Cheers. Anyway, getting into it, the first thing that we need to talk about, as always, is the team selection. And I'll be honest, I was a little bit spooked by it. I saw that we were like, okay, normal side. Oh, that's a normal side. Which meant that we were starting Manor Solomon out on the left flank and Brendan Aronson in the 10. Perfectly good players. They know what they're doing in those positions, which I had absolutely no problem with. The concern was their knocks from the previous weekend, slash Manor Solomon's weird little hamstring niggle thing. But turns out they were fine to play, and the one slightly spooky moment was when Brendan Aronson was hit with a fairly nasty challenge from behind that meant that he was on the floor clutching his back for an extended period of time. But he came back on after a little while. I don't believe it's a serious issue because there was a little bit of a post-match interview as well with Manor Solomon, and he said that everyone came through it okay, which makes me completely fine with the Aronson shout and the Solomon shout, and it means that everyone is going to be in decent condition ahead of Burnley, or at least no additional injuries that we're aware of unless they happen in training. Outside of that, completely unchanged. Basically the team that you'd expect. Bogle on the right-hand side, with Firpo not 100% yet, Byram on the other flank. The two centre-backs that you can rely on, Ampadu, Rodon, two central midfielders you can rely on. The mentioned 10 and winger, but add Dan James to it, and then Joel Piroux as well. And we decided to get swinging into the match with incredible pace, scoring the first goal in about 33 seconds, 34, something along those lines. It did not take long at all for us to score our first goal of the match, and it came from some genuinely incredible interplay. I was looking through Blue Sky earlier, and the number of people I was like, that reminded me quite a lot of Bielsa ball, was completely fair enough. Aronson's ball to Dan James was absolute perfection, in my opinion. Like the little bits of ticky-tacky stuff between, I think it was Bogle to Naka and Aronson, before he pings a lovely through ball down the line to Dan James, was spectacular. And then Dan James's cross into Manor Solomon was perfectly weighted, got on the end of it, in the back of the net, and from that point you could feel like, oh, okay, one of these evenings where we just sort of control the game. And that nice little ticky-tacky bit shows that we've got a really strong sense of chemistry and understanding between the players that are currently starting. They knew where each other were going to be. Everyone knew, okay, if I play this ball in here, you're going to be there. And then they'd see someone go off on a run and go, okay, cool, I can trust you to be here for the next ball. And it was one of those times where perfectly weighted passing, getting it right technically and tactically simultaneously came together to this beautiful goal. And that's the stuff that we can do at our best. That is a sign of the sheer quality that we have at the minute. And the way that even a side like Norwich, who, let's be honest, ahead of this, we were like, there might be a bit of a threat. Even sides like Norwich are just getting swept aside without causing any serious problem. But following that's different. You see, it was a very, very strong start to the match from us, without a doubt. But afterwards, the rest of the first half was a bit weird. It was a fairly quiet remainder of the half. It's like we'd start building up moves and then a pass would fall a little bit short. I do have to note that we did a very, very good job of limiting Norwich. They had a grand total of 3 shots in the entire match, all of them in the first half, none of them were on target. I think one of them was blocked and 2 of them were misses off the top of my head. But either way, they didn't provide any threat throughout this match, and that's just how strong our back four plus the 2 central midfielders are. And as much as people might say that Daniel Farke's style of football is boring or slow or whatever, it means that other teams don't have these threats against us. Because the only times we've been properly worried this season have been cases in which either we concede a weird goal or a team hasn't even outplayed us, they've just been competitive. And that's fantastic. That's how efficient we are at the minute. And in spite of the fact that we were 1-0 up and we were controlling that match all the way throughout, to me it's quite promising to see that Daniel Farke was a bit frustrated in his post-match interview. He said that we should have done a bit more in that first half. We could have maybe sealed it up and made things a little bit more secure. And to be honest with you, hearing that critique is good, because that tells me that we're pushing even harder to do even better in these games against sides that are decent quality like Norwich. Yes, they were missing a lot of players, but they've still got good coaching, and they're still a reasonable standard of team. And being frustrated post-match shows that we need a little bit more. And we have the drive to improve, even if we are top of the league, winning most of our games with relative ease. But there is another downside that I need to point out, and that wasn't the way that we played for the rest of the first half, but it's one of the players specifically. And, well, I'll get into the referee in a minute. I've not got any banners for him, but no, sorry, I'll do it now. The referee was really annoying, right? 3 yellow cards in the first 12 minutes. Sure, if you want to set that as the tone, you're going to be booking friendly, cool. Stick to it, be consistent. There were a couple of Norwich bookings that didn't happen. I think Tanaka should have been sent off, to be completely honest with you, because that second challenge was a second yellow card that just didn't get given. A little bit of consistency would be nice, even if it would have gone against us. It just shows that refereeing in this division is crap. To be clear, I think even with 10 men, Norwich don't break us down. But come on, let's get some actual referees in here. But the performance that sort of disappointed me the most is Piru's. And I think we do need to talk Joel Piru, because his stats are relatively kind to him. So everyone has pointed out that, yeah, he's got 5 assists, he's got 10 goals. That's a really strong return for a number 9. And that's the reason he should start. But he started 17 matches for us this season. And in those, he scored 6 goals. Put it in a different perspective. If you've got many other centre forwards that play 3 matches and only score once, you're going to be a little bit annoyed at them. Like, if this were Joseph or Bamford, for example, everyone would be saying, it's not really great, is it? But we seem to accept it because he's got a reputation as someone that's better at shooting, and even worse, he's only scored twice when he started a game at home. And I don't know what that is. I don't know whether that's something to do with the way that defenders position themselves when they're playing away at Leeds, whether that's something that he does a bit differently when playing at Leeds. I don't know. But it's something that is tough, and for me it makes it a little bit harder to back him as a starter. I did say on various things ahead of this, I probably want Piru to start so he can get into a bit more of a rhythm. But to be honest with you, he needs to start scoring some goals when he is starting those matches. And sure, he does from time to time. I'm just going to bring up his numbers at the moment. I had these in advance, and then I closed them because I'm an idiot. Piru, there we go. And we go to matches. So in his past 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, in his last 10 matches, there's only 2 in which he's actually scored a goal. He got 2 against Stoke City, 1 against Hull, which is frustrating because the wider number of he scored a bunch of goals coming off the bench sort of guards him from that critique, which I understand. I understand people going, yeah, he scored some goals for us. But at the same time, that's not happened when he started games of football. So maybe we need to go back to that start Mateo thing, stress out their back line, tire them out, and then Piru comes on to just finish the job. But we won. I don't want to overly focus on the negative stuff, but it's just something to keep an eye on in coming matches. Something that I thought was genuinely very positive was fullbacks. They're doing really, really good stuff at the moment, with Jayden Bogle definitely showing his value for me. Sheffield United fans, when we signed him, were doing that whole, I don't know why you've signed... That's a fun hiccup. I don't know why you've signed this guy. He can't defend thing. Currently, he is the starting right back in one of the better defences in the league. At least in terms of XG, I think we might be the best in the league, unless Plymouth did literally nothing against Burnley. But he's not only doing the defensive stuff reasonably well, but his attacking output is incredible. And a further benefit that we saw in this match was Junior Firpo came on, I think, a little bit earlier than we expected, maybe because he was a paired sub with Ilya Gruev, and Tanaka definitely needed to come off after that probable second yellow card, and bring on Firpo showed what we've been missing. Byram, right-footed. Rodon, right-footed. Ampadu, right-footed. Bogle, right-footed. That entire back line is full of right-footed players, and Junior Firpo brings someone who can hug that touchline, make those creative runs behind, and pick the ball up at the byline and put in some crosses, while Solomon is doing his cutting inside thing. And I think this has given Daniel Farke a very, very tough decision to make going forwards, because Byram's been in good form. But Firpo brings something a bit different. And I'll be honest, if I'm picking a side to play against Burnley, I might be tempted to play Junior Firpo there. Because you know he's going to challenge their right back a little bit more, and you're going to force a little bit of a problem out there for them, because otherwise they might double up on Mana Solomon. It's tough decisions to make, but they're good decisions to have. Because I can't remember where I said it, but I think we've probably got 4 of the best 5 wingers in this league at the minute. And that's another set of decisions that we need to make, because Ramazani again looked pretty good coming off the bench. And this all combined means that Leeds United are back on top of the Championship. And back on top reasonably comfortably. I say that, not in terms of points, but in terms of performances, in terms of looking at the games that we got coming up. Yeah, they're not the easiest. But I'm not super scared. I'm not super scared of Burnley, because they're not a side that score tons. Yes, everyone's going to say in response to that, they scored 5 against Plymouth. My 7-a-side team could score 5 against Plymouth, and that's with them having 11 players. They are dire. Parker Ball is not suddenly interesting, because Plymouth are very bad. And I think that we genuinely have a pretty good chance going to Turf Moor. Yeah, they don't concede many goals over there. But my God, we're going to make them work to keep that clean sheet. So we do sit at the top of the table, and I'll be honest, beating Burnley could be essential to building that gap. If we beat Burnley, that is a 6-point gap over them, which isn't super comfy, obviously, but it's something. And it's something pretty damn good to have. In addition to that, it's probably a 5-point gap over third place, because I expect Sunderland to win, because I think they've got Plymouth. But even then, 5 points is way better than the 3 it is at the minute. So if we can beat Burnley, I will feel fantastic about the way the rest of this season is going. And let's be honest, we owe them one. We're way better than them at Elland Road. Let's just do it again at Turf Moor. And I think we can. But at the end of the day, as always, that is just what I think. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Like the video if you enjoyed it. That is always really appreciated. Subscribe if you fancy. And even become a channel member. You get videos like this one early, so I'm releasing this one once I've filmed it, which is like 1 in the morning, but it'll be coming out like maybe 7:30 a.m., but I record at weird times. Anyway, hope you enjoyed. I will see you later. Let's just get promoted, please. What the fuck? Sorry, it just scared me that Piru is younger than me. I don't want to feel old. Don't like that.